The time of recording Reckless Love, my house was going through a lot. My stepdad was just losing it. There was just years of lying and cheating and abuse. I never got involved because, well, for starters, it was not my business. And secondly, I was afraid that if I did get involved, it was going to be worse for my mom. This might sound like an exaggeration, but it was like having a dragon and my mother was trapped in a cave and he was protecting her for no reason. She has no value to him. She was just like a prize for him. And at the time, I felt lost and I was extremely conflicted. I remember having my conversation with God and I said, I don't know how we're going to do it. And I know it's going to be a struggle, but if you can remove this man from our lives, I would really appreciate it so much. And it seemed impossible. You can hear his breathing. First thing I loved about the song was those words. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Wow. The way in which the words were sung seemed like he was in awe. Cory was extremely relatable, Some artists write a song just for the sake of writing a song and putting something out there that's catchy and beautiful. And in the recording or in the performance, you can see that it's forced. They're forcing that story on you. And one of the things that I loved about Reckless Love was the fact that he didn't do that at all. It was just him sharing his story. I never heard the love of God be described as reckless. And I wasn't even affected until he got to the middle and shared his story. He carefully explained that he wasn't calling God reckless. He was simply pointing out that the way in which he loves seems that way.
What I mean is this. He's utterly unconcerned with the consequences of his actions with regard to his own safety, comfort, and well-being.
The main message to me was that you're never too far out for God to reach you. That his love is timeless, that he loved you and he did so much for you before you were even born. And that gave me hope. I love the space they're creating here. Just some light strumming, a little drone in the background, creating a beautiful space. Cory sort of putting himself in the right state. What's beautiful about this particular version that we heard is the music. You could give a group of musicians a piece of music and they will play it exactly how you gave it to them. And unless you wrote it in a way that supports the story, the music won't be right. What the musicians did in this song is absolutely remarkable. In the first verse, when Cory's talking about, before I took a breath, you breathed your life into me, the drum pattern feels like you're in a womb.
Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me.
You have a great rhythm section that's supporting that story of the womb. And then these tiny, beautiful decorations that kind of remind you that God is there with you. And it's impressive because the music continues to build. It goes from womb to like life now, the journey of life, to like this pattern that feels like you're going through obstacles. There's also some very interesting things happening with the timing in this section. This song is a recipe for experiencing God's love firsthand. You're walking along Cory's journey. We're still sort of in that womb-like state. That guitar melody is sort of representing life. Now we have a drum beat. I love the bass line here. Beautiful work. Every musician is on point. They're like supporting actors holding this beautiful story together. They build around the chorus beautifully. Now, the chorus to me is all about gratitude, and the more he sings it, the more grateful it sounds. The chorus goes through several phases. If you listen carefully, at the end of this phrase, you'll hear his voice echo, and he goes, yeah. Beautiful. Bass goes up an octave. We're still sort of in that womb-like state. The bass goes up an octave here. And then boom, everything just... It's just so explosive and so full everywhere. To hear how it started so quietly and how it built up to this immense song. It's such a beautiful, beautiful song. Lyrically speaking, Cory, whether he did this intentionally or not, I don't know. But either way, I'm really impressed. He takes us through time. Before I spoke a word, so before he's even developed, you were singing over me. So he's talking about the past, right? In his infancy. And then in the chorus, bringing us to the present moment where he's amazed by the love of God. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And in the bridge, he takes us to the future. There's no shadow you won't light up, no mountain you won't climb up coming after me. So before I took a breath, you were taking care of me. In my youth/adulthood, you took care of me. And I know that in the future, you will continue to take care of me. What's brilliant here is how they land this plane. Everything's so calm and cool, and here's Cory's opportunity to speak to us.
I lay my life on the line as long as I get their hearts. To make it personal, His love saw me, broken down kid with regret as deep as the ocean. My innocence and youth poured out like water. And He found me and He put me on His shoulders. And He carried me on. Because He's just that good, He's just that kind. He's a father that never gives up. So as we sing this bridge and chorus one more time, just let it break down those walls tonight.
I almost made it through this song, and he had to say all this.
There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after.
Just imagine, if you can for a moment, that you're in a place in your life where you've messed up so badly and you're full of regret, and you think that you've gone so far out that God cannot reach you. And then you remember that there's nothing that could stand in the way of God reaching you. That there's no shadow He won't light up and no mountain He won't climb up coming after you. You know, it's a soundtrack to the wall being kicked down. It's boom, and the walls come down, and the mountain is climbed, and the shadows are lit. And I started to imagine a world where people love each other the way that this song says that God loves us. So I asked the question. My question is, why can't we love this way? Why can't we dive deep into our hearts and love this way? And even though I said, why can't we dive deep into our hearts and love in this way? What I really meant was, why won't we dive deep into our hearts and love this way? How different would this world be if we actually obeyed this commandment of Christ to love one another as He loved us? I thought about how different my mother's life might have been if my stepfather would have sacrificed everything to make her happy and to love her. So shortly after the video was posted, Bethel Music blocked the video. And so I made an announcement to everyone that they had a couple of days to watch the video before I was taking it down. And then I wake up to a message from Cory. Apparently, you all messaged Cory like crazy to the point where he felt compelled to do something about it. Cory contacted Bethel. I have no idea what he said to them, but they decided to release the claim, which made the video skyrocket. Thank you all so much for reaching out. Thank you for your love and support. And thank you, Cory, for fighting for this. It really means a lot to me. I hope that I could do more Bethel now, because there's a lot of requests for it. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It made me believe in the reckless love of God. And it made me see that Cory is one of the most authentic people that I've come across. He wasn't just singing and talking about the reckless love of God. He was all about it. You know, he fought for me, for the channel, a non-Christian stranger. Needless to say, the video got a lot of attention. And on the 4th of July, my stepfather finally lost it. And he tormented our family for the last time. The police was called and he decided he had enough. And he left. We changed the locks and we were free. We were finally free from him. For the first time in 30 years, there was peace in our home. And there really was no mountain he wouldn't climb up, no shadow he wouldn't light up coming after us. Just like Cory, I want everyone out there to know that no matter how far you think you've walked away, no matter what reckless situation you put yourself into, God always finds a way if you have the courage to surrender and to ask for help.